Hi, I'm Corey McCartney.
And we're Screen on the Spot.
And we're getting to know me through movies.
Yay!
Yay.
Nailed it. Yes, you did nail it. Welcome to
Thank
Screen
you.
on the Spot.
Thank you.
Is this your
Thank you.
first podcast experience, or have you done several?
I've done not several. I think it's like my third one.
Okay.
But this
Nice.
will be your favorite.
Yes, it will. For sure.
Yes.
Don't tell the other two.
No, it's
Right.
going to be. I'm
Top-
already
top
saying it will
three
be.
at least, yeah.
Top three, yeah.
And it's our second vidcast, video podcast.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're still workshopping that. We don't know what we're calling this because it's technically a podcast/video cast.
Yeah.
It
Vidcast.
feels natural.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks.
So, well, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff, obviously, but let's start with like just personal background. Are you from Kansas City?
No, I was actually born in Sedalia,
Okay.
which is like an hour outside of Kansas City.
A lot of
all
film going on there.
Yeah, I know, right? They're all Chiefs fans and Royals fans, so I guess it's kind of Kansas City-ish. But no, moved from Sedalia when I was 12 to St. Louis, and then moved from St. Louis to L.A., and then L.A. to here in 2017. So I've been here
Okay.
about 5 years.
Nice.
And how long have you been like making movies and stuff? Was that always the goal when you went to school, or was that something that came later?
You know, it was always in the back of my mind, but, you know, I was trying to take the safe route and, you know, get the job and all, and I did that, and then, you know, and then moved to Kansas City after spending some time in L.A., and then saw opportunities to just start producing. So,
Sure.
yeah, that's what I did, starting in 2017.
Okay. Well, the one thing that I noticed on your IMDb page was you actually helped on Bel Air with Morgan Cooper, which became, of course, the Bel Air show on Peacock. But what was that experience like, or how did it feel once the reception was kind of coming through and things started happening?
It was amazing. You know, I mean, at the beginning, you know, I got called in to help produce that like just a few days before the shoot. So it was kind of like putting out fires and stuff. But crazy experience watching the view count go out on YouTube, you know, just after a couple of days. It was a crazy, like, you know, roller coaster ride, you know. It seems like it was just yesterday, but at this point it was like, what, 3 years
Before the
ago?
pandemic, yeah.
Yeah.
And you were a producer on that?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what that's like. What do you do as a producer?
So, you know, just as a producer in general, like, I just look at the script and try to figure out everything you need to make it happen, right? And then take all that pressure off the director or the writer. Usually that's the same person, at least around here. But for Bel Air, it was really just casting. Their lead talent fell out like a few days before the shoot. Morgan called me and he's like, "Hey man, do you know anyone that could be a young Will Smith?" I was like,
It's tall.
Yeah.
And I was like, "When do you need him by?" And it's like, "In like 3 days." And I was like, "Oh man," I was like, "You know what? I actually know 3 people," because, you know, when I first talked to him, I presented myself that way, like, "Hey, you need casting. I know people in L.A. I knew people in St. Louis. I can get you whatever you need." And then it was like a few weeks later.
And then
he
you had to
actually-
Yeah.
actually walk the walk.
Yeah, so I found him as young Will, and that took some effort. You know, a guy I knew out there who had given up acting. You know, he's like, "Oh, I do podcasting now," and he's an engineer.
There's no future in that.
Yeah, no,
Give that
no.
podcasting up. Nothing's going to come from that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and then ended up helped cast a couple other people in there from LA. So yeah,
That's cool.
Was this your first time producing, or have you done produced before?
So, but I got lucky. Like my first 2 projects. My first one ended up landing on BET.com. We were trying to win $1 million.
Oh, tell us more. Yes.
Yeah.
Did you win?
No, we didn't win, but we didn't win.
Was
because
it like one of those contest shows or something?
So
or
it
contest
was a
things?
screenwriting competition. So I didn't actually write, but, you know, my partner wrote, my business partner, and he made it into the top 10 of Project Create, which is a Viacom thing. And then the top 10 had to make 5 minutes from their feature-length script. So what they said was, it needs to be like you walk in the room, you watch a movie for 5 minutes, and then you walk out. So
Wow.
it can't be a trailer or anything like that.
Beginning, like clear beginning, middle, end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sort
nothing
of
like
type
that.
thing.
They just like, is this going to capture my attention if I walk in the
gotcha.
room or not? You know? So it's like, all right, well, what's the best 5 minutes from this feature-length script that we could film? And then that ended up making it onto BET, but we didn't win the competition. And we didn't win because we weren't willing to move production out of Kansas City.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us a little bit more about that. Now I'm like, what was it about staying in Kansas City? Why was it so important to you?
Oh, I mean, you know, I'm always playing the long game. I don't want to leave. I want to build here. I want to make movies here. I want to bring production here. In their contract, it's basically like if you're named the winner, you have to agree to either shoot in Atlanta or LA. And it's like, we don't need to do that. We have everything that, everything that we use to make that 5 minutes. Everything is here. So why do I need to leave, So, ultimately it wasn't my decision. It was the director's decision, but I agreed with it. We didn't want to move this out of town. So we thought that we could keep going, and we have,
Did you end up making that feature here?
It hasn't been made yet, and to be honest, that feature needs more than $1 million.
Yeah.
I don't think $1 million will get us the name that we need in order for it to guarantee its success. It'll be made well, but if you don't have that recognizable name, there's not really a guarantee it's going to do anything. And even with the name, so you guys know about that.
Why do you think it's so hard for people to recognize that Kansas City has just about everything that other cities have to offer? Like, I feel like there's a lot of amazing talent here. People are making features here just fine. Why is it that people want to go to LA and the Atlantas?
I mean, that's what you see in the lights and on TV, and a lot of people are artists and they want that success, and sometimes people just aren't always built to bring that back to Kansas City. It's like, I can advance my career faster if I leave. Fortunately enough, I've been able to have a career in a couple different industries, so I have the luxury of waiting until we can bring it here. So, but I think it's just too much of a draw to advance by leaving than staying sometimes.
Got it.
Well, when you talk about having that big name, the short that you just produced, right, got picked up and is going to be played by Gerard Butler. Is that right?
So Gerard Butler and Alan Siegel, they have a company called G-Base Productions. You'll see G-Base listed on pretty much every single Gerard movie. They have agreed to produce the feature-length film based on the short film we produced here last year.
That's so cool.
Most likely Gerard's going to be, I can't see G-Base producing anything that he's not going to be in.
Yeah.
But they haven't actually announced that he's going to be the actor.
Right.
So.
And who's the director on this?
His name is Remy Adeleke.
Okay.
So, former Navy SEAL. He was a good friend. He still is a good friend of Khalid, who's also my good friend, my business partner. He called Khalid and he was like, "Man, I got this script. I'm having so much trouble making it out here in LA. Can you guys make it? I see the work you're doing. I saw Bel Air. I saw all this other stuff." And then we were like, "Yeah, we can." At the time we got it was like 6 pages. So I was like, yeah, we could do this, no problem. But then I looked at the 6 pages and I was like,
it was a lot.
There's a lot in the 6 pages, man.
Tell us a little about the script. I am not familiar with it, so I'd like to know more.
So the film's called The Unexpected. It was written to bring awareness to global human trafficking and organ harvesting. So a pretty serious subject based on true events. Some of Remy's personal experience, some of his work that he's done around the world, even after the military. So everything that was in the script, like a private jet, probably like 8 different SUVs, like 5 different locations around the world. And so I needed to get at least 2 airports. I was hoping for 3, and I needed to get all of this in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
And all of that in Kansas City?
All of it in Kansas City or around Kansas City.
Sure.
So, yeah.
That's really cool, though.
What's the first step in trying to find a private jet for a film? Like, where do you go for that? Just like yellow pages, like, private jet to you.
Well, I mean, the first thing I thought is Wheeler. It's like anybody who's flying with a private jet is probably not flying in a KCI. Right. They're probably going to fly into Wheeler or Johnson County Airport or something like that. But it also needed to be a G5, so it couldn't have been too small of an airport. So yeah, Wheeler was the first stop, and then there's a company down there that it's basically like an Uber for planes down there. And so I started talking to them, and then it was like, okay, how much is it going to cost just to use the plane? Long story short, Remy actually put it out on his Instagram that I need a private jet, and he's got a lot of friends in high places, so someone ended up coming through.
Like, you can use mine.
You can use my jet. Now, we still had to pay for the jet fuel, which was a crazy amount of money.
Oh my gosh.
But he ended up getting the jet. So it didn't have to come very far. It was over there in Chesterfield. So, yeah.
So how did word get to like Gerard's company that there was this short and he wanted to be a part of?
So word on the street, and this is a lot of this is my assumptions, but I kind of know it's true. So Remy did a movie called The Plane, and hasn't been released yet, but it's with Gerard Butler, and they shot in Puerto Rico last year. And so Remy was on that movie, and then he was fresh out of shooting here in Kansas City. So it was like, I just did this movie, and then I think Gerard saw the short right after that and was like, yes, I want to get in on this.
Oh, wow.
And if you've noticed some of his movies, some of his stuff is pretty hard hitting. Like he'll get into the thick of it and face some of these issues, So it's no surprise that company jumped on.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have you guys screened it? You've screened it somewhere already, right?
So we did a private screening. I wanted to keep that on the low. It was with the IFC. IFC, they were doing a rebranding earlier this year. And I was like, do you have a film that you can show? And I was like, I do, but I don't really want to put it out there yet, but we can show it. So we showed it privately, but I actually do have a screening on Sunday at the Bird Comedy Theater.
Okay.
I got called out. I was like, man, this is a pretty tough subject for a comedy theater.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, it's like, I know those people over there. They've been really
Very cool.
good to the film community. I think it'll be good for the theater. So yes, we're still doing it at the comedy theater. We're showing it publicly for the first time. So
That's so exciting.
Do you feel like a good luck charm, you and your partner, for between Bel Air and now this movie?
yeah. I mean, Khalid made he made a post on Facebook the other day calling us. He said, "Enter the Kingmakers."
Yeah.
It's like, and we've done it. I mean, we charted on iTunes with a music video, and obviously the BET thing. So a lot of people have kind of like launched their careers, and so it's fun to just know that you were a part of it at some point,
Sure.
and then it had this big wave and impact.
Yeah. Well,
my last question before we move to getting to know you, unless you had something
no, I was just going to
more.
give you kudos for sticking to the Kansas City
That's
thing.
amazing.
I think that's awesome.
Yes.
Thank
cool.
you. This is the
Did
dream.
you meet Will Smith?
No, I didn't meet.
Okay.
And I still haven't met Gerard yet either. But I am talking directly to the company. Like we have a real shot, no guarantee, but we have a real shot at bringing at least a portion of that back to Kansas City.
That's awesome.
That'd be great.
Yeah, so we're working hard to make that happen. So hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get to know you a little bit better, since we've never met you before either. So this is actually really good for us too, to get to know you through movies.
Awesome.
So-
Awesome.
Okay. What is the first movie that you remember seeing in theaters?
The Mighty Ducks.
Oh, what a good one.
I feel okay. So let me start by saying I feel like you are going to be right in our wheelhouse with
Yeah.
the 80s nostalgia things that you're gonna pick. I have a feeling
Yeah.
because you're already starting with Mighty Ducks, which is near and dear to Justin's
Yeah.
heart, and also Chris.
Did we just become best friends?
I loved Mighty Ducks too. I'm not quite near the nerddom that these guys are
Yeah.
with that movie, but that's a good.
That's a great first movie,
Great
because I definitely
first
didn't
movie.
see it in theaters.
Really?
We watched it at home all the time, whether it was on TV or we had the VHS. We watched that and even the sequels all the time.
Wow. Yeah. D2 was so exciting.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
it came out. And you know what? I should have did more research. It was either Mighty Ducks, or do you remember a movie called Cop and a Half?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. I used to watch it all the
Cop and a
time.
Half. I can't really. It's hazy.
Sure.
Did I see
Yeah.
Mighty Ducks or Cop and a Half in the theater first? It's one of those two, but I'm pretty sure it was the Mighty.
Burt Reynolds, man.
Yep.
There
Yeah,
you go.
I used to watch that all the time. I don't know how great it would be now rewatching it,
Yeah.
Right.
but I used to watch it.
It never fails at all those 80s movies. It's like, yes, that was my childhood crush. That was my childhood because Banks and Mighty Ducks or
Oh,
whatever.
sure.
Yeah.
That he was.
Oh, you like Banks?
Oh my gosh, I had such a
Yeah.
huge crush on him. I thought we would get married and have like 10 kids by now. It didn't happen, but that's fine.
Yeah, well,
It's all good.
we all had crushes on, and I can't even remember her name, but it was in the movie. It was like one of the only girls
the
on the
female
team, and she had the
member.
boyfriend,
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
Guy or Guy or whatever his name was.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and then of course the sequel. Then we got into the goalie, but maybe it was just like any girl that was in these movies. It's pretty
I mean, I feel like the sequel was like the single reason for why everyone got into rollerblading.
Oh
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like street hockey.
Yeah.
In that
And was it
movie,
like
and
Three Ninjas or
everybody-
something where they had that or not Three Ninjas? There was a rollerblading scene in one of those other ones too.
I think, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
there
It's
might
like
have
a
been.
ninja movie. I feel like I don't know.
Three Ninjas, I love that one too.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
what's a movie that you definitely saw way too young?
Let's see, a lot of them. I mean, pretty much like all the Freddy Kruegers and
Oh, sure.
Jasons
Yeah.
and all that. I was watching that when I was like 7.
Yeah.
For some reason, I wasn't scared. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Jurassic Park. That was pretty scary in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the first time with all the raptors and stuff at the beginning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of those movies that I never thought was scary and never realized it until trying to watch it with my 6-year-old and how nervous she was getting even in that opening scene. And I was like, oh shoot, maybe this isn't appropriate.
appropriate.
And then like we kind of skipped through that and then got later when the T-Rex gets out and she was getting so nervous. I was like, okay, we can change this. I'm not gonna put you through this anymore.
Right. I put my son through it on accident. You know, that's the one where Samuel L. Jackson's arm is just basically off his body. And that's when he was like, I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about that scene.
I was like with one of my friend's kids who was obsessed with dinosaurs. I'm like, let's watch some Jurassic Park clips.
Yeah.
And then there was the newest Jurassic Park where all the dinosaurs burn and die.
Oh my God.
And he was watching it. He's like, what's going on with those dinosaurs? I was like, nope, I'm sorry. I forgot about that. We got to move on. We can't watch that. It's not.
Well, the original
appropriate.
Jurassic Park just looks so real too
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
now.
Sure.
Like because
Yeah.
nowadays I'm like, that looks fake.
Yeah.
But
No, they did
back
really
then
good
it was
job.
really
They
good.
did a great
Really
job.
good job.
What would you say is your favorite movie soundtrack?
That's such a tough. There's so many of them. Believe it or not, man, it's kind of weird. But you know, 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying.
Sure.
Yeah, like I downloaded that album like on iTunes like back in like 2005, and it's just transferred all the way. So still, when I get in the car, dude, like sometimes it'll just start playing like, as soon as you get in there. So I need the finer things in my life.
Yeah.
So that one's a good one. But of all time, I mean, there's so many good. There's a lot of original music in that one, and I really appreciate that more than using popular songs already like they do in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like obviously like Guardians of the Galaxy that's an amazing soundtrack.
Yeah.
Dazed and Confused, Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
It's like all this recognizable music, but then there's movies that have original music, and then we could be talking about score too, right?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
So there's recognizable music. So it's so hard to choose. Me and my brother had this conversation like a year ago. He said Dazed and Confused. I said, well, Forrest Gump is better than Dazed and Confused, like as far as soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is sort of a funny because Forrest Gump is famous for so many things,
Yeah.
but it's something that like you're right. You're totally right. That
For
soundtrack.
sure,
I
yeah.
feel like Thor, because I just watched that recently.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is the most recent one to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that,
yeah.
where it's just like, we're just going to put the playlist on 80s.
a lot of Guns N'
Yeah.
rock
Roses.
music. Yeah, a lot of Guns N'
Stranger
Roses.
Things, same
Yeah,
thing.
Stranger Things.
Yeah.
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 For sure.
All right. Well, what's speaking of something like Guardians of the Galaxy or something, not that this is going to be your answer, but what's a classic movie or widely successful movie that maybe you just didn't get?
It's so embarrassing to say because I just saw it for the first time like 4 months ago. But Shawshank Redemption.
Oh man.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure I just pretended like I saw that for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, just like in Shawshank, and I'm like,
Yeah.
That's it.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
Old
it.
Red.
Yeah. Morgan Freeman. That's all you got. You just throw out things
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Tim
Yeah,
Robbins.
man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that is a very it's on the favorite movie that when people are like, "What's your favorite book?" and for a long time, everyone was just like, "Oh, Dan Brown, whatever the
Oh,
Dan
yeah,
Brown
yeah.
novel." It's like you didn't actually read that. I feel like Shawshank's like the go-to. Like that was my favorite movie. Like a lot of
It's
so
people
easy
say
to
that
say.
that's
It's
their
easy
number
to
one
say.
movie.
Yeah.
And it might be, but I mean, yeah, it is kind of an easy answer. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, hot take. As far as Frank Darabont Stephen King movies go, I think he's done 3, and it might be my least favorite of the
Oh,
ones he's
really?
done. Like I love The Mist, and I really like The
Do
Green
you
Mile.
like The Green Mile more?
Yeah, I think I like The Green Mile more.
I mean, I will say
Better than
it's
Shawshank?
I think so.
Me too.
they're both really long.
They are really
So
long,
they're.
but-
I mean, Shawshank. I don't even know if I watched it once as a kid on
That's not a
DVD, but
movie
it's
to
always
watch
on
as a kid.
TV.
Right.
I know it was.
Yeah.
That's a movie I probably saw way too young.
Yeah. Not-
But yeah, it was. I remember being like, when it's on TV, you basically spend 5 hours with commercials watching.
Right.
It. Like, oh boy, it's a long
Right.
one. So,
Right,
so in your defense, it's long.
It is long. Yeah. The Green Mile. I probably I like that better than Shawshank.
I don't know
That's
what
a
it is.
tearjerker too.
Yeah.
It is a tearjerker,
yeah.
and it might be because I was pretty young when it came out. It might be because I actually saw that around the time it came out, whereas Shawshank I was really late to it, and so maybe I don't know. Maybe that had something.
Although,
For sure.
like in yeah, I guess there's characters that you really don't like in that, because I remember hating Percy.
Yeah.
In the Green Mile,
And
like
then in
more
real
than
life as well.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yeah,
and it could
exactly.
also be like the genre aspect of it, because that one has the supernatural elements and stuff to it, and even with The Mist is definitely a genre movie that Frank Darabont did. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
Yep.
Maybe it's just Tom Hanks.
Green Mile does have a really good cast too, though.
Yeah.
Sam Rockwell.
I mean, yeah, it's like Sam
yeah.
Rockwell before he was Sam Rockwell. It was in
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
and I
Pretty
feel
amazing.
bad because every time I see, I laugh at Sam Rockwell
Yeah.
and how he's acting. He's
Yeah.
just
But you
hilarious.
shouldn't because he's like the worst.
Right,
person.
he's just
Yeah,
the
but yeah.
worst.
I know,
But,
but
you
he's
know,
so
the
good.
barbecue, me, and it's like, oh my god, this dude is off the chain. It's hilarious.
He's so good.
I know.
Like there's a dude getting fried in the
Yeah.
next room,
Yeah.
and I'm just laughing because
Yeah.
he's like
He's,
singing
like,
a
on the
song about it.
bar.
Yeah.
Oh my
I love
god.
Sam Rockwell.
He's so
Me
good.
too.
That was
Me
an
too.
interesting role for him.
Well, when we talked about tearjerkers and the Green Mile, what was the first movie that made you cry?
I'm not gonna lie, Green Mile, I bawled my eyes out. I was completely by myself. I was staying at one of my parents' friends' house because they were like out of town, and then they had it on VHS, and I'm just like, I'm sleeping on the couch. I'm in their living room, and I'm just like, I just bawled my eyes out on that one. Another one, and this is it's kind of funny to say, but you ever seen the movie Friday Night Lights with Billy Bob Thornton?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was a big high school football player, and when they lost at the end of the game, I was
Yeah.
like with my girlfriend. I was like crying on her shoulder. I was like, "This brings up too many memories."
When Tim McGraw hugged his son,
Yeah.
and put the ring on his finger or whatever,
Yeah,
that
that's a
got me.
tearjerker. Yeah, I got you right.
Here's a hot take. I think the show is so
love
much
the show.
better.
Didn't you
than-
name animals
Really?
after?
Yeah, our dog is named Lila after Lila Garrity,
Oh
the
my
character. But Friday Night Lights it's Breaking Bad and Friday Night Lights are like neck and neck for me, Sarah. So, but yeah, have
that's
you
good.
ever seen the show Friday Night
I
Lights?
never watched
Yeah,
the
me
show.
neither.
It
just
is.
the movie.
I mean, since you're a high school football guy, I mean, it is
I should.
awesome. It's
How
really
did you react to Varsity Blues?
I mean, I love the movie. It was fun.
Yeah.
You know.
Didn't
like-
make you tear up, Bud Kilmer.
No, it didn't make me didn't make me tear up. But that is one of those, like, that came out when I was in, like, I want to say like 7th or 8th grade, so I didn't really quite relate
Yeah.
to the high school football experience yet. And Friday Night Lights came out like after I was in high school already, like just a few years after. So I had a different experience. Those are the different kind of movies too.
Yeah,
Sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's a movie that you quote the most?
I should have an answer for this.
I mean, you just said barbecue, so I feel like I feel like
Right.
that probably makes its way into some conversations.
Oh, the most. You guys, this is so tough because it just comes to me when it comes to me, right?
Sure.
Are you a big movie quote guy? Like, do you find yourself in conversations that you're always
Sometimes,
like,
yeah.
bringing it back to a
I mean,
movie quote, and people are
you
just
know,
like, "What are you talking about?"
Gladiator,
Oh, yeah.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, that's an easy one when you have
Right.
kids.
Right.
We put out projects. Sometimes it doesn't get the, maybe the notoriety that we want or the views that we want. And I'm like, are you not entertained? Like I put a lot into this. So
I found myself
maybe,
quoting Will Smith when he's in Men in Black, the best of the best of the best,
Yeah.
sir. I said that the other day, and no one got it. I was like, "Come on,
Oh, I totally
the
get
best of the
that.
best of the best, sir."
Captain America over here.
Yeah.
See, that's
Yeah.
like you had to
You
provoke
know
me.
it.
Into
Yeah.
that.
That's a great choice.
Oh, my
Yeah.
gosh.
What's something what's a movie that you were so amped and excited to see and then incredibly let down?
Let's see. That's happened more often than not lately. Amped and excited to see and then let down. Drawing a blank here. I would say lately, you know what? The newest Mortal Kombat.
Oh, okay. Sure.
I was a big Mortal Kombat player,
Mm-hmm.
especially Mortal Kombat 2. I loved the first one that they made in like 1995.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this latest one, I saw all the VFX and all that, and I was so excited. I heard it was a first-time director out of Australia. He was like a commercial director, but then watching it, I was just completely let down.
Yeah.
It was
No,
just,
I agree with you.
it was just a nostalgia thing. I was so excited, and I was just let down. And then I started getting arguments with people on why they liked it. I was like, how could you like this?
Yeah.
It's like, Yeah, it broke my heart.
I haven't seen that one.
It's
Really?
not great. Plus, the lead guy is like not even a character in the game,
Right.
And so and then
They
his
made him a
and,
character.
and then like the
That's-
abilities or whatever he gets are so lame.
Makes no sense.
It's such a weird. It was such a weird choice, and yeah, I feel the same way.
I was a
really
Street
like
Fighter girl, so I'm not in the Mortal Kombat world.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to talk about letdowns,
That was
Street Fighter
terrible
movie,
too.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of one to watch, like, and you have fun at how bad it is, though, because like that movie is so. I rewatched it not that long ago. It's a fun bad movie for
yeah,
sure.
fun
But
bad one.
I
Yeah.
will say I actually quote Mortal Kombat a lot.
Like the game.
Yes,
Well,
because I find myself saying "finish him" a lot or "get over here,"
Yeah.
and like I don't know why, but those are the two things
Yeah.
I say a lot more
That's
than I
funny.
probably should.
That's awesome.
Whenever you have those movies that you're so disappointed by, do you find yourself wanting to rewatch them, like maybe at a rewatch it'll be better, or because you just can't let go of how excited you were that you're like, well, maybe it'll still be good.
Yeah, I mean, once you have a few conversations with people
Sure.
and they tell you why they like it, and it's like, oh, maybe I'll see something different, this time, and then, end up, upsetting myself even
Yeah.
worse the second time. Like,
Yeah.
I wasted my time,
Yeah.
But, yeah, sometimes I've wanted to rewatch it after I have a conversation with someone that I respect their opinion. It's like, maybe I should look at this a little differently. Something
Sure.
Like that.
Is there a movie that you will always defend that people say is bad, but you still
The
just love it?
original Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
That's fair.
Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who just like, that was terrible. And it's like, how could you say it was
Yeah.
terrible? Like, the writing's great, the acting's great, the VFX were way before its
The
time.
action in
Yeah.
general,
The
like it's
action,
so
yeah.
good.
Like, they stuck to like the essence of the game,
Yeah.
So,
Was
yeah.
that the first one? I remember with Scorpion in the woods scene.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, there was some really cool stuff in there.
Now I have to watch this.
Yeah. Well, speaking of crushes when we're kids too, Sonya Blade in that movie
Oh,
was
my God.
was a
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was also in Billy Madison though, so it was like that.
Yes.
And Katana as well. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yes.
What is probably your most memorable movie going experience?
So, I've had a lot of them, obviously, but you guys remember the Rock's movie San Andreas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So for a while there, it was like anything that was coming out in IMAX 3D, I just wanted the experience. I didn't really care what the movie was. I'm sitting in the middle of the theater, getting all the sound, and my wife was pregnant at the time, and we went and saw San Andreas in IMAX 3D, and he was kicking around like the whole time because that's nothing but like the San Andreas fault, and there's just earthquakes the entire movie,
Yeah.
and it's just rumbling, bumbling, and I remember like, are we traumatizing this kid? Like, because he was kicking around and just going crazy like the whole time. So
Yeah.
that for some reason is just so memorable. It's like, did I prepare him for like some type of natural disaster catastrophe in the womb already? Like, is he already? He's like, oh, I've already been through this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like,
My daughter did that for the most recent Spider-Man. She was
Really?
I was pregnant when I went and saw Spider-Man. She was like
kicking around the whole
crazy
time.
kicking. I was like,
Yeah.
she likes movies. It's good. It's great. So
We're gonna get along, me and this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
it was awesome. What's your favorite movie with some ties to Kansas City? You can say like your own if you want to.
I mean, sure, I would love to say that. The first thing that popped in my mind is that Kansas City poster in Top Gun. I don't know if you
Oh
guys...
man, I don't know if I remember.
Oh man, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, there is a clear like poster that says Kansas City in the original Top Gun.
Really?
And I was like,
I didn't
the
know
Leonardo DiCaprio, like, hey, look,
Yeah.
like, I was like, Kansas City.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I guess is that a tie to Kansas City?
Yeah.
That counts, sure.
And
That's a good
now
one.
and
Yeah.
that's something I didn't
Yeah,
know.
you can
so
look
I'm
for
gonna
it
say
now.
look for
He's just
that.
hanging out in the bar. It's in the bar. I forgot the name of the bar, but he's like alone in the bar. It's in San Diego, and there's a big poster of Kansas City. Just the other day, I was watching Are We There Yet? First time I saw that. Satchel Paige is like the bobblehead that's talking
yeah.
to him the whole time. Like, I was like, I've never seen this. Like Ice Cube, Kansas City. And then
Fascinating.
Winter's Bone.
Oh
Yeah.
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 And a lot of that was casted here and shot.
Yeah, it was like filmed a lot in the Ozarks, and I saw that. I think I was in college, and a lot of the because I went to college in Springfield, not
Okay.
like just outside of the Ozarks, and so there were a lot of locations we recognized. Like we got out of the movie, and I texted my dad, and I was like, "They had a scene at the place where you do your horse auctions." I was like, "That's so
Really?
crazy! Like we've been there, we've walked around."
Yeah. That was the
Jennifer
first time
Lawrence was
Jennifer
there,
Lawrence, yeah. Jennifer Lawrence was my first time even, seeing her.
Yeah, me
in
too.
film.
I think it was her first movie. She got nominated for an
Yeah.
Oscar for that
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Very young. I haven't seen it. It's one that I'm like, I think it's a hard watch. I'm pretty sure it's kind of.
It's got some stuff in there. Stuff, yeah.
Kind of hard. So I've always passed it by and been like, I don't think I can have the stomach for today, but it's one I've always been wanting to see.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a cool one.
Yeah.
Did you see the new Top Gun?
I did.
Yeah.
Loved it.
It's
Great. It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who hasn't seen it.
It was
I'm
so
the only
fun.
one in the entire country or world who
Pretty
hasn't
much.
seen it. But
It was fun.
yeah,
I mean, I feel like
can't-
that was
I
the movie that came out that people are like, movies are back finally. It just felt, to a lot of people
Totally.
like, okay, we're back in the theater now, and this is a really fun movie, and it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
did really well at the box office. So
I
Totally.
loved it. I loved
it
it.
was
And
fun.
random Kansas City ties. Sometimes, so I rewatched Roadhouse not long ago.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't realize that takes place in Kansas. Like when he's inviting Patrick Swayze's character to come, he's like, well, my bar right outside of Kansas City, and I was like, what? This was a Kansas City
The
movie?
Double Deuce.
Yeah, the Double Deuce. That's right.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Lots of fun facts today.
I know. Who was your first celebrity crush?
Do you guys know who Tia Carrera is?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wayne's
Wayne's
World.
World.
Dude.
Yeah,
dude.
absolutely.
Yeah, I used
Last
to
Action
love
Hero.
Wayne's World, and then Cassandra. So
Camera 1, camera 2. Camera
yeah.
1.
We were just talking about this movie as one that we quote a lot, like random things like hi, I'm in Delaware.
Is that why you all were playing on YouTube
Yeah,
really
yeah.
loud last Friday? I was
Yeah.
like, what's happening here?
Oh man, I love
love it.
Wayne's World.
So good.
Quotable movie.
Yeah.
What's the last new movie that you watched?
Elvis.
Oh, me too, actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just watched it.
Yep, the other night.
Yeah.
I was impressed. I didn't think it was going to be that good.
My expectations were low,
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the guy was really good. Austin Butler as Elvis.
He was amazing. Writing was amazing. I mean, it was really well done. And it reminded me of Ray.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Jamie Foxx.
That's a very good
Ray.
comparison. I did not think of that when I saw it. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
I also I grew up in Eastern Arkansas, and so we went to Memphis all the time.
Okay.
And so anytime a movie has any Memphis like scenes or whatever, I just can't help but get like nostalgic.
sure.
Even though Memphis has changed a lot since I was a kid, or even since then, obviously, but it's you still can't help but get like excited when they're talking about Beale Street or whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. It was fun. Fun movie.
Yeah.
What is a classic or successful movie you're embarrassed to have never seen? Is it Well, you did finally saw
Yeah.
Shawshank.
Yeah, I finally
It
saw
was
it.
that until you saw it.
Yeah, it was that until I saw it a couple months ago. So this is something that I've never seen yet.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That everyone's like, you haven't seen that movie? How could you?
There's so many.
Our last guest was like Princess Bride,
Yeah.
and I don't remember.
I've never seen
Star
Princess
Wars.
Bride.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man,
there's a-
she said Anchorman was one that she's never seen.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Yeah.
I've never seen Anchorman.
That's how we
yeah.
were. Yeah.
Let me think. Any big ones I've seen? It's all the obscure ones that I haven't seen.
Sure.
Yeah, I still have to stick with Shawshank just because it was so recent that I saw it. So it's still just fresh in my mind. Like, because I've basically been white lying about seeing that.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah.
Sometimes when you're like, people know that you like movies or because you make movies or whatever, and they talk about some classic, you just, I don't know, it's just easier to be like, yeah, of course I've seen this movie. Like,
I go along
right.
with that all the time with Citizen Kane until you guys found out
Ugh.
I've never seen
It's
it.
so
but-
bad.
I mean,
though.
yeah, you know,
I don't like it.
I mean, I haven't seen Godfather 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
really?
I've
I've
seen-
I've never seen the third one,
I
but
haven't seen. Yeah.
I've only fairly recently seen the first two.
Really?
Yeah, which they are great.
Yeah.
Those we've talked a little bit about. Sometimes you watch those classics and you just don't get it. Like Citizen Kane was one we found really slow.
Didn't see Citizen Kane. I haven't seen
There you go.
one Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
I
I've
like
never
that one.
I've never seen Platoon.
I haven't seen that.
You know,
yet.
a lot of people have seen that. Just a lot. There's
Sure.
just a lot.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about some movies you have seen. We like to kind of end talking about movies that are really important to you. So what's your first one?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes, the first original,
the live
Okay.
action, right?
Yeah.
No, okay,
Yeah.
The first one.
Where
Great
Raphael's all depressed and in the bathtub.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And he says a bad word.
A little
He says
too,
that word? Yeah, that's
a little
right.
too quiet.
Yeah.
I quote that a lot too.
That's
the
from
second
the
one.
That's the second one, yeah.
That's the next
I know.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little too rap.
I
See,
quote
yeah.
num
A
noms
little too
all the time
rap.
when they
quote that.
bring the donuts to the
Yeah.
num noms.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Well,
really bad.
sorry, we
We
Yeah,
went away
this
from
is
the
what
first one.
happens.
We gotta talk about the first one. Okay,
Yeah.
why is that? Why was that your pick?
So I have basically 6 movies that are most important to me because just having a rough childhood, I would escape from my environment with my grandmother. And my grandmother had just the same VHSs at her house. And she also had a little video store that was close to her house. This is Raymondville, Missouri. I don't even know if you guys know where that is.
No.
It's in Texas County, like this big
We have a county called Texas County.
Texas County, and
Wow.
it's the biggest county in Missouri, right?
Oh,
No idea.
That big uninhabited area between like Springfield and Cape Girardeau.
oh,
Right in the middle of that.
Okay. Okay.
That's where she lived. Anyway, so in there, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the second one, Demolition Man, Last Action Hero, Terminator 2,
These are all so
and
good.
Bloodsport. So that's it for me. Like I watched those
Yeah.
movies
Over
on
and
repeat,
over
on
and over.
repeat, you know. So Last Action Hero, great soundtrack.
I love
Uh-huh.
Last
It is
Action
a-
Hero.
An
so
original
good.
soundtrack too.
Yeah.
right?
That movie still holds up.
It does.
I
It's-
just
it's-
watched
it was
that
ahead of
last
its
year.
time.
It was
Yeah.
so good
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, so they're all important just because it takes me back to like that escape.
Sure.
And like, and I can still watch them to this day for like the 200th time.
Yeah.
And still
It makes you happy.
makes me
and-
happy.
Yeah.
It makes me feel grounded and puts me back.
Those are your comfort movies.
Yep, they are.
Do your kids like those Ninja Turtle movies?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He's 7, so he's still getting it, you know. And every time I showed it to him a couple years ago, and then just again recently, and he didn't even remember, so it was like his first
Oh,
time
cool.
all over again. And then we bought the video game, so Shredder's Revenge, it just came out on PS4. He plays PS4, and that's a family game we can all play.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Those first two. Well, we actually watched. We even watched Turtles in Time all the time when I was a kid. The third
Okay.
one, but those were probably some of the most rewatched movies in our house. Were those first two,
Yeah.
especially, and even the tone even kind of changes from first to second because the second one gets a little lighter, a little sillier,
A little bit more
but it's still
commercial.
so.
Yeah.
It's got
fun.
Vanilla Ice in
It's
it.
got Vanilla
Yeah.
Ice in
It
it.
sure does.
But it's so good, and the first one is like. It's more. It's darker. It's a little more intense, but it's still so good.
Really good.
You got Sam
Writing's
Rockwell
really
pops
well.
up in there too.
He does.
He's the
doesn't
skater
he?
kid.
He's like the
At the
he-
beginning
right?
He's
in
got
the
the like,
lair.
shredded shirt,
Oh
like
my
or
God.
Yeah, he's
whatever.
like the
He's like, we
skater
got
kid.
menthol.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
Yeah, he's offering the cigarettes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
That's Sam Rockwell. KC connection in that movie too.
What's that?
Re-
If you guys spot it, there's a dude in that lair where Sam Rockwell
Uh-huh.
was in that hangout spot. Dude, clear Royals hat, just
Oh, yeah.
smack
Oh, my
dab in
gosh.
the middle of
That's
the frame,
awesome.
dude. Yeah.
That's
I love
crazy.
that. I
That's
always
cool.
wonder how
Yeah.
those things happen. Like if somebody on set like was a part of Kansas City or
Yeah.
something.
Right.
Like,
It's
Yeah.
like, how did that make it
The
in there?
actor
This
just-
dude is just
was it
sitting there
just a
dancing
ward?
with
Yeah.
the KC
Yeah.
hat
Right.
on. I was like, look.
Yeah, that's awesome. Plus
I got a
that
little excited.
the actress, I think her name is Judith Hogue, who plays April O'Neil in that one, ended up being the mom in Halloween Town. So when we were kids, again, it was like we were like, oh my god, it's April O'Neil.
No way. Yeah,
Now
I didn't
playing a
realize
mom.
that.
Remember they used to have those Teenage Mutant Ninja like live shows that went around town too.
Yeah,
Do you remember that? Like they would be in costumes and they did like a stage show.
It was they would do music and stuff,
Oh.
right?
Yeah, and they'd dance and you could buy nunchucks. And
Drew, who
nunchucks.
works here in the building, went to one, and he likes
I
to
went
tell
to
that
one.
story. Did you really?
Yeah, we had like little
That's
nunchucks
cool.
that you buy. And, like,
Oh.
we used to
I
hit
would
each other
love
with them.
that.
all.
Yeah, so we
was
went and
great.
saw
It was like
Power
Turtle
Rangers
Mania.
live.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that which was pretty cool. It was at the Memphis Pyramid, Power Rangers live. That was pretty neat.
That's
Never
cool.
went to see Ninja
I
Turtles.
feel like Power Rangers would not hold up. But
oh,
Ninja
it does
Turtle-
not.
Yeah.
but it's still kind of fun.
It's
Yeah.
still, I mean, it has stood the test of time.
Oh,
Like
right,
they're
right.
still making more recent ones.
That's
like,
true. Yeah.
You know, it's there's still an original IP there that's just valuable
Yeah.
apparently. Because my son, you know, he'll watch it sometimes, the newer ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
My daughter discovered the show because the first like the early seasons are on Netflix, and so like 2 years ago, it might have been like a pandemic thing, but she didn't like the movie. She thought things were too scary in the movie, which was kind of a bummer because I was like kind of excited to rewatch the movie. I was like, okay, she's watching the show. I'll let her watch a little bit. We'll go to the movie. She wasn't into it.
Dang.
But that Justin's first crush, the Pink Ranger,
Oh,
Power
okay.
Rangers.
was that Kimberly?
Kimberly,
Yes.
Amy Jo Johnson.
Yeah.
So you gave me a third one, which was Demolition Man.
Mm-hmm.
That movie's bananas.
Oh, I love it.
So that was one I was super late to, and I only watched it maybe 5 years ago or something.
Oh, wow.
Because I think I was on a Stallone kick. He's got a lot of those like cheesy or
Yeah.
like Cobra, and of course Judge Dredd.
Yep.
Yep. But Demolition Man is like most of why I loved it is because Wesley Snipes is just on another
Yep.
level in that movie.
Yep. It's crazy because you know, he's a lot of times a villain needs a backstory, which makes him a villain. He's one of the only villains that I've seen in a movie that you just don't know why he is the way he is, and he still captures you the entire time. It's like
him and the Joker.
Right. It's like there's no backstory. But even with the Joker, you can kind of see like what happened and why he is the way he is. There's a little bit of a story there. Simon Phoenix, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Like why?
I never thought about that before. That's true.
Yeah. And then, and then a lot of the stuff that's even coming true today with what they portrayed back in like 93.
Did they have a year back then? I don't remember.
2032.
2032 was when it took place.
2032,
We were
yeah.
not
That's
close
exciting.
to having any of those things that they had. I love and that's what more what I remember about those movies is just like the cool gadgets and stuff, and the future-y things.
For sure.
Like, same thing with Back to the Future too. It's like,
right.
Okay, that's what I loved about them. Okay, we're gonna have hoverboards. Cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna have I don't even remember what all the demolition stuff that they had, but I remember some cool things.
Well, 2032 is like every restaurant was Taco Bell.
Yeah.
That's right.
And they had neat cars and
self-driving cars, and you weren't allowed to say bad words or you would get a ticket.
That's right.
Oh,
no one could touch each other, so handshakes were just like this.
Yeah.
And a bunch of bizarre stuff like that. But and then obviously cryo prisons, that doesn't exist yet.
That we know of. Yeah.
Right.
All right, man. Well, this was a lot of fun. You've got great taste in movies.
Thanks.
And I guess everybody should look for The Unexpected. Oh, you got some?
No. Go ahead. The Unexpected.
The Unexpected. Okay.
No, that's all I got. I thought you maybe forgot the name for a second, so I was gonna.
No. Sorry, I was just being awkward on wrapping up.
Sorry.
And yes, we will look for that for sure.
Yes.
Congratulations on all your success, and we're excited to see what's next for you.
And thanks for keeping Casey so close to your heart, too.
No problem, man. Thank you.
Thanks.